Okay, we are calling to order the meeting of Hillsboro School Board on this 22nd of September. Welcome everyone, and we'd like to start with the flag salute. Join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we are trying to move agenda order, so we will start looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
The motion has been made by Colin, seconded by Kim, to the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we are starting off with our audience time. I'm obliged to read this. Hang on with me. Participation in public participation in board meetings is governed by policy BBDH. Patrons may comment on specific agenda items at the beginning of the meeting, or at the discretion of the board chair may be deferred to the time the item is before the board as stated in the agenda. Comments about non-agenda items will be heard during audience time at the beginning of the regular board meeting. Speakers shall be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers may offer objective criticisms of school operations and programs that are of concern to them. However, in public sessions, the board will not hear personal complaints of school personnel nor against any person connected to the school system. Other channels provided for board consideration and disposition of legitimate complaints involving individuals, including board policy, KL, KLD, public complaints. If anyone wishes to address the board, they can complete a board agenda card located on the back table and give it to the board secretary, Val. And at this point, I don't believe that we have any. So that being the case, we will proceed. So next up on the agenda, we have a summer school program report on Travis.
Thank you. Has in the situation page of the summer programs that we ran this summer, including our dual language summer academy, our migrant summer schools, list of 5 elementary programs, as well as some details about our extended school year for students on IEPs and our summer food program. And I'd like to just highlight a couple of things to draw your attention to details in the report and talk about just some of our big numbers. One of our giant numbers is that this summer we served 1,190 students in some form in extending their school year through the summer, so we're really proud of that. The Dual Language Summer Academy was an opportunity for our elementary students who are in our dual language program to extend their learning for 5 weeks. We had 176 students involved in that program, and they did 4 one-week units that focused on Spanish-speaking country around the world and a crop harvest in that country. And we're able to do some learning about geography and economics. Our summer school program for migrant summer schools served 140 migrant students in grades pre-K through 12, and including 601 students at Lincoln Street Elementary School and 239 students at Hillsboro High School. The statistics on the math and literacy achievement of those students over the course of just a few weeks was impressive. We had 97% of the students with good attendance making gains in their literacy pre and post assessments, as well as 91% of the students who had good attendance increasing achievement in math in the course of those weeks. A feature of the migrant summer school this year is that we had 4 binational teachers teaching at the school, and if the board hasn't heard before, the purpose of the binational teacher program between the United States and Mexico is to support students who move back and forth across the border of the United States and Mexico, and also to improve the professional learning and ability for teachers in our 2 countries to collaborate. So we have teachers go to Mexico and work in schools and in professional development in Mexico, and we invite teachers from Mexico to come and work in our programs here and collaborate with our teachers. We had a variety of summer programs taking place at our elementary schools, and you can see that on page 2 of the report. including a K-2 Summer Boost program at Brookwood. We had programs for our ELLs in grades 4 and 5 at Free Orchards that served 20 students. At Lincoln Street Elementary, they had a summer program called The Future Me that served students in 1st through 6th grade. And those students answered the question, what do I see when I look into my future? We talked about college and career aspirations. 63 students went to that program. And we also had some of our Western Oregon University future teachers interning in that program. So I don't know how much the board knows about students who are attending Western Oregon and bilingual teacher pathways, former HSD students who are planning on coming back to our community to be teachers. And now they're serving in our summer programs as part of their experience at Western. At McKinney, we served 35 students in a summer program that was a partnership with AmeriCorps. Reedville Elementary, they served 90 students and focused on Common Core in language arts. Our extended school year program serves students in ages 5 through 21 who have IEPs. And the purpose of that program is to prevent summer slide and help them re-enter school this year and be successful right away. We had 135 students in extended school year at Rosedale this summer. So overall, our food services program plays a huge part in supporting kids through the summer. And we served 7,244 breakfasts and 11,000 plus lunches at Lincoln Street Elementary School this summer. And at Hillsboro High School, we served 1,388 dinners to secondary students who work during the day and come to summer school in the evening. So we're proud again to be expanding our numbers of programs and the numbers of students we serve during our summer programs district-wide. Happy to take any questions if the board has them.
Do we have any numbers as far as costs related to summer programs? For instance, if we wanted to double our programs, what that cost would be?
We could. The problem with that would be we'd have to go program by program because the funding comes from different places. So for our migrant education programs, it comes from Title III. For some of the summer programs that we ran for our elementary schools, that came out of Title 1A. And the purpose of those dollars is to serve different students, and the ways that we create those programs are unique to the program themselves, the number of hours, the number of staff, the food costs. So I'd be happy to get numbers on any particular program and look back at what that program costs and make an estimate of what it would cost to double it.
Well, you know, we've talked about 12-month school and how kids regress during the summer. So when you said summer slide, that caught my attention, and yeah, I'd like to see with summer slide, if we double those numbers, what that would cost us.
It's great that we have to do. So maybe just a cost rundown of what we invested into our summer program.
It could be a ballpark number. I mean, it doesn't have to be real specific.
Are we turning kids away because of a limitation? I mean, you say doubling programs. Would you speak of adding more students who weren't able to participate, or doubling the length of?
Not that I'm aware, and I was involved in 2 conversations when we actually expanded the capacity of the program in order to accommodate more students. So I'm not aware that we've turned students away who want to participate in those. Several of them have eligibility criteria, so a program that's funded by Title 1C for our migrant programs. I can't sign up for that unless my family qualifies as a migrant family.
Okay, so just a couple questions. And since you did mention the summer slide, I didn't see the timing of exactly when these summer programs were running in your report. So, I mean, is it like midsummer, or is it just before school, or how does it normally work? That's my first question. Back to you.
Yeah, it's a good question. The dual language program and migrant program run simultaneously from about a week after school gets out through July. And then some of the programs for younger students actually happen later because the idea is to kind of ramp them back up in school. So I'd be happy to find out in detail which ones, what the date range was for each program. Those, especially the school-run summer boosts, are up to the school when they can find the staff to run those, or if they strategically place that right before the school year starts to get exact up to speed.
so my second one was more on the line of a lot of the programs you reported on are very specialized for an audience that we have to make up, ground in particular. Kind of going along with what Monty said, there are a lot of kids who just have regular brain drain or just behind for other reasons, just because not everyone, there's a bell curve of the learning and would benefit from a program. So do we have just a general program of summer school for kids who just need extra stuff that's paid for out of our budget that didn't come out of a title or something?
The one that kind of fits that right is what our high schools do for credit recovery. So students who are behind in terms of being credit efficient for graduation have the access to do that at our high schools. But I'm not aware that we have a program, I don't know how to characterize it, but a program open for anyone who wants extra support. We haven't done that in the past.
Or maybe their parents wait to have it.
Yeah, usually it's targeted based on the school improvement program, or the school improvement plan. So you can see, early literacy might be the target at an elementary school, whereas 4 or 5 might be the target at another school. Targeted boost for population students.
Just a comment. I knew that we were serving a lot of students in these programs, but I didn't know the exact numbers until I read through this. And I just want to give kudos. I think that's excellent. I was really excited when I saw how many students. And the second thing is I just want to publicly give a shout out to the staff that are working with these students and seeing, we have a couple data points in this packet about, the students who attended regularly, what some of those gains are. 65 at the low end is really good for a low end to be reporting, and then up into the 90s for a lot of them. I mean, as a teacher, to have 91% of your students demonstrating gains is pretty outstanding. So that's just exceptional, and I was really excited. So just need to pass on my, hey, you guys are awesome.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Travis. Next up, we have Mike with the presentation of the superintendent goals.
So each year I report out what my goals for the year are, and this should be no surprise that we talked about these during the summer retreat. So goal 1 would be to implement those agreed upon strategies and actions that we discussed during the retreat regarding the strategic plan for year 5. And you will see, I want to say 5 or 6 pages following the situation page that lays out what those goals and actions are. And at the request of the board, for the last several years, we do now have SMART goals at the end of each of those strategy areas, so you can take a look at those. And there's 5 or 6 SMART goals for each area. And then the other goal would be the professional development opportunities, make sure we're providing those for our board members, just to make sure that you are getting the information that you need and learning that you need in order to be a contributing board member to the degree that you choose to be. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, and there's some riveting reading over the next 6 or 7 pages that speak to the goals.
Not that nobody cares.
Oh, what? Yeah, just a real general one. Just refresh my memory, because I know it's also in your thinking. Since we're on year 5, your staff is working on the next plan as well. When are we going to get an update on that?
Great question. So on Monday, we're actually spending a couple hours putting together the process that we'll bring to the board the next month.
Okay.
So we'll put together a process by which we would where we would create the new strategic plan, who we would involve in that timeline. So you'll get the whole thing to follow.
And I did like the SMART goals, by the way.
Good.
So, any other comments? You're not going to get a neck workout. Okay. Thank you, Mike. Adam, there's time, and how many years you've not stuck at the end of the meeting?
Not at the end.
All for you.
So obviously you have the financial report in your packet. A couple of highlights since we put this together. September obviously is a big time for us. We ran our first payroll the new school year. Payday was last Friday, so successful first payroll. That's a good thing. We're in the process of preparing for our audit visit, which will come early in October. the other piece of news is that Ann Ballard, our auditor, or our CPA that we've had on staff for the last several years, is leaving us. She's moving on. Her husband is an Intel employee, has his sabbatical coming up, and their 2 kids are now out of the house, so she's looking for opportunities to be a little more flexible with her schedule. So Ann's leaving us. She's done a great job for us, put us in a really good spot. So we wish her nothing but the best. But if you know a CPA who's looking for a job, send them my way for her.
A heck of a way to advertise it out.
Yeah. Anyway, well, thank you. Other than that, we did have open enrollment for insurance benefits this year. It was a mandatory open enrollment, which meant that every employee had to go in and re-enroll in an insurance plan, which meant we did a lot of reaching out to folks. In the past, if you didn't want to make a change, you didn't do anything. You were automatically re-enrolled. That wasn't the case this year, so it was a much bigger burden on our benefits staff, and they did a great job, and we got most everybody enrolled. So happy to answer any questions on the financial report.
Clarification on the benefits. Do we have 14 plans that roughly? the people
14
have the-
medical plans.
14
Then
medical.
there's dental plans and vision plans, so the permutations are, you math guys could figure it out, but there's a lot of different possibilities. So yes.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Next up, we have 2 policies up for first read, and we'll ask Casey.
Good evening, everybody. You have in front of you our first reading policies, use of tobacco products, alcohol, drugs, and inhalant delivery systems. This is in reference to House Bill 2546. The main purpose of this is to include all delivery type systems with the products that are being advertised now, with vaporizing, with aerosol. It really takes our existing policy and includes that into our current policy. That's the main purpose of this policy. I don't know how much level of detail, but it really does just incorporate on our property, at our events, talks about clothing and those types of things, and outlines some consequences and what that means as far as spelling out the delivery systems. So are there any questions that I can specifically answer on this policy or the update with the House bill?
Janine.
Curious about how this works with art. Does your policy, is it so descriptive that it says that even in art where students draw something that they can't draw, we're talking about high school students and the level of incredible talent-based students, can they not draw something like a cigarette on the, is it?
Generally, it's not that restrictive. Certainly, we not necessarily would promote that, but there's always a case and a setting for specific projects or school-related classwork. This has more specifics to do to apparel, the actual devices that are available, which previous policies would just say, for instance, tobacco.
Right.
Well, now tobacco comes in many different forms, as does other paraphernalia. So I don't believe that's the intent of the policy to talk about like class artwork projects, if there was a specific
I was
category.
just
But
wondering if that was what you did.
Go ahead.
Okay, so reading over the policy, my eye was drawn to the part where it talks about prescription and non-prescription drugs. The question I had is something as common as like an aspirin. I know it's pretty common for kids who are not supposed to do this. They'll have things like their own little pain relievers kind of hidden away in their backpack or whatever. I could name a number of different instances I've seen that. But if say, a student gave another student an aspirin, just just for sake of argument, related or not, that is something that our policy would say, you're in trouble for doing that, correct? And at that point, then they would,
Yeah, I would assume so. We do not want students providing other students any type of substance regardless of that. Now, I would assume that our administration would investigate that specific case to determine what, if any, type of discipline is. But yeah, we wouldn't want to have an open-ended policy where students could provide other students with anything that's outlined in this policy.
could that be like,
Applicable, maybe apply discipline if warranted.
Like-
I didn't expect it to have just 100% answer.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that level yet, but I would just assume based on our other types of application of policy would be something like that.
So I can tell you on policies typically like this, we want to make sure that we leave room in the policy for our administrators to apply their judgment to each situation. So a kid sharing an aspirin with another kid is much different than a kid sharing legal substance. And
Certainly.
so we just want to make sure that there's room for judgment in there and with taking into consideration intent. Lisa?
Casey, on the first paragraph at the end of the first sentence, or second line, it says, or any substance purported to be an unlawful drug, and then the fourth line down, it continues, will result in disciplinary action. Can you elaborate what that means?
Lisa, tell me where you are.
So at the very beginning, at the end of the second line
End of the second
of your
one.
first paragraph,
Okay.
any substance purported to be an unlawful drug, and then the end of the fourth line, will result in disciplinary action. It seems to me that something that somebody thinks is an unlawful drug, they can be in trouble, but really, perhaps it turns out to not be. So can you kind of, I don't think that was the intent, but that's what it seems like, so.
You're referring to determining if it is an unlawful?
Right, like obviously you're gonna, whatever the situation is, diffuse it, but I mean, is the student going to be like on a lengthy suspension for having like maybe an aspirin that somebody says is something else, and then they're in trouble for.
Again, I don't see that happening. I think every case is going to be a little bit different, and if needed, involve other people to help make that determination of the substance. That's going to be a challenge for anything, and we have resources to do that. But again, I wouldn't think that our administrators in the aspirin example would take it to that severe case if that was the true intent after they investigated some of the details of, I guess, the transaction or the trading of the aspirin. It is certainly more intended for more of the substances that we see.
Lisa, sometimes where you would see that come into play is if you had a student that was claiming that they were distributing something else, maybe even legal drug, even though it wasn't. The disruption that occurs and the kind of chaos that ensues because of that, there might be disciplinary action for that, just because of the intent.
Attempting to sell an aspirin as something else, and then
More sense now than what I said.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, any other questions on that? Okay.
Okay, now we're on to public conduct on district property. Again, this is recommended OSBA language to delete one of the policies and to add a couple things into it with regards to outlining our district grounds and including parking lots, not just district property in general. So if you look in the very first line, no person on district property or any district grounds, including parking lots, shall, and then it goes through a whole list of things that we, as well as OSB, has determined as not proper conduct on district property. And it also includes at the number 12, the inhalant delivery system that we talked about in the previous policy. Those are really the only two updates in this policy. Recommended language.
Seeing no questions?
we're on to community use of district facilities. And really, the highlight of this is just down in the fifth paragraph, and it spells out private gain versus district use of for before and after school programs, and talking about fee schedules and application of fees in this policy updated, and that's what it is, an update.
Okay.
Clarifies what the use should be intended for.
Seeing no questions. I would like to state that in an effort in reorganizing meetings and helping us run more efficiently, I did skip over reading the comment, but the plan is for these policy first readings, that if we do not get public comment or any other comment from board members regarding the policies over the course of the period of the reading, then they will come on next month as part of the consent agenda, so that we would require another formal stand-up presentation to do that. So that will be the process.
Thank you. Disappointed, Casey?
Oh, yeah.
You can have that.
Yeah.
If you ever want on those ends.
Right.
Just let us know. Okay, with that, we are moving to approval of the consent agenda. Or a motion.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
The motion to approve the consent agenda by Janine, seconded by Eric. Is there any comments or questions?
I have one.
Okay.
All right, so I looked over the list of, in the, what was it? Oh, it's on the second page here. The parent organization activities for liability insurance. It doesn't seem like that this changed a whole lot between this time and last time, particularly with the high schools. You had mentioned last time that there was some retraining and whatnot. Did that occur?
Yeah, we've been reaching out to office managers, athletic directors, trying to help them understand the importance of getting their activities included on this list. We'll continue to do that. Obviously, the first week of school is a hectic time for everybody, so we'll continue. The intent is that eventually this will become a quarterly notification to the board. We're going to be doing it monthly until we kind of get into the habit of having folks report those to us. So,
Refresh my memory again, the qualifications for being listed on this, it would be any of the school clubs, that do stuff? Not
right,
just the PTO.
it's anything that's not a school-sponsored activity. For instance, if your school-sponsored marching band is attending an event, they're going to be covered. This is for something outside, for a parent-teacher organization who wants to hold some kind of an event.
Okay.
You need to be aware of it, and we need to be able to show the insurance company that you're aware of it in order for the organization itself, their PTO, to be covered and defended.
Question by Kim.
Well, just a comment, and some parent organizations already have their own insurance.
Right.
Most, if you're a PTA, you have it, so you don't need this sort of disclaimer from the school district because you already have it provided in another manner. So I think there'll be some schools that you don't see based on, just because of the type of organization they are. They don't have to,
Right.
They're not looking for you to help them insure any of their events.
Correct.
Okay. Consent agenda was moved to approve by Janine, seconded by Eric. Asking for those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries. What was this? Okay, so let's go into moving to our action items. We have first up Travis with the appointment of the Citizens Curriculum Advisory Committee members.
The Board of Directors has established the Citizens Curriculum Advisory Committee, or CCAC, to provide for citizen input into the development of schools' curriculum and instructional programs, including the advice of the board around the approval of new courses. The board board, in consultation with the CCAC chair and district staff, has decided that the CCAC will consist of about 14 members plus a panel of 4 students. Tonight we have 9 new applicants for positions on the CCAC committee, and those folks, with approval from the board, would serve a 2-year term. During tonight's work session, the CCAC applicants introduced themselves to the board and talked a little bit about their interest in serving on the CCAC. And the board now has the ability to approve them either individually or as a group. Wayne, do you want me to read the names of the candidates, or do you want to?
Val, we need to read the names of the candidates aloud. Or
No, I think you can just do them as the slate.
It's pretty easy for me to do, Wayne, if you want me to.
go ahead.
All right. We have Elizabeth Diaz, Irma Alonso, Jim Havis, Kit Schwartz, Kimberly Wenger, Kimberly Scott, Laura Gomez, Linda Asuna, and Megan McCrary. We've turned in their applications to be part of the board. I mean, the Citizens Curriculum Advisory. The board is next.
It's next. Okay, thank you. So I am looking for a motion. And as we said, we can make any motion we deem appropriate to move forward.
So I move that we appoint the slate of 9 candidates to the CCAC.
Second.
Motion is made by Kim to approve the slate of candidates that we mentioned to the Citizens Curriculum Advisory Committee, seconded by Lynn. Any further comments or questions? All right, we'll vote. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
First meeting will be October 12th.
First meeting October 12th. Okay, and then we'll move on to Adam.
Audit committee.
Before that, we do have some that stuck it out to the end. We very appreciate your service and welcome you to the Citizens Curriculum Advisory Committee. I know it's going to be an exciting time helping drive the curriculum for the district. It's really critical to our process, and it's a great way to participate. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Let's see, Adam.
The board has an audit committee that has been in existence since before my time. And the privilege of joining that committee is usually extended to our newest school board members and anybody else who wants to participate. But this year, it's Lisa. So I would like to officially extend the invitation.
So she's not alone, I'd go.
Okay. So the plan will be, the committee will meet with our audit firm prior to the engagement beginning in October. And then we'll meet again prior to them delivering the audit report to the board, probably be in early January. So, thank you both.
So we do need a formal motion.
I think I do.
Okay. So I'd like to make the motion to initiate Ms. Lisa to the audit committee and her companion, Director Akers.
Second?
Motion made by Kim, seconded by Janine to appoint Lisa and Monty to the audit committee. Any further questions? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries.
No applause for that.
Thank you.
You'll thank us later.
That's great. Okay, we are moving to Adam again with our budget committee.
Yeah, we currently have 2 vacancies on our budget committee. We have posted those vacancies and have received 1 response so far. Nina Carlson has volunteered to be reappointed to her position on the Budget Committee. I'd like to go ahead and have the board appoint her, and then we'll leave that final vacancy open until we get candidates that we can bring forward to the board.
So I'll make a motion that we reappoint Nina to the Budget Committee.
Second?
I heard a second, I didn't see it fast enough. Motion made by Glenn and seconded by Janine to appoint Nina Carlson to one of the two open Budget Committee slots. Any further comments or questions? All right, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next up, we have Ted and Greg with the approval of the alternative education program for 2015-16.
Is it a duet?
We may do a duet. So I have to admit that I'm fairly impressed with the expediency that you're working at today. I have two students that are arriving at 7:45, about a half an hour prior to the time slot.
You know what? We can move it. We can move it.
Okay, so that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
We don't need to, we can just do this on the fly? Or,
Yeah.
I think we'll do that. We can move that. Perfect. Okay, we will move on temporarily to our next item, to approve resolution regarding energy savings performance contract. Adam.
So as we discussed at our August in-service, we've been working for 3 years now with Amoresco, which is an energy savings company. Is that right? And ESCO. This is Jason from Amoresco, by the way. He helped put all this together. And what we've tasked Amoresco with is to identify energy projects that would generate savings. And then they guarantee those savings, and we use those savings then to fund those projects. Part of his job, in addition to the engineering and all the pieces in identifying those projects, is to also identify a funding source for how we're going to pay for these. And what we've identified is a QECB, which is a Qualified Energy Conservation Bond Program, which is a bond program that doesn't involve us. We don't sell bonds. We take advantage of bonds that the state of Oregon Department of Energy have sold. We have access to those at very low interest. And then we use the savings from these projects that you see listed here and the reimbursement from our Senate Bill 1149 money that also is available to fund these types of projects. To complete these projects. So included in the board packet was a list of projects, and the total just over $3 million. And the intent is that we take advantage of the QECB program and our 1149 money. We fund these projects, and then we start realizing the savings, and Amoresco guarantees those savings. So that's the program, and what we're looking for is the authorization to proceed by the approval of the resolution that's included in the packet.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking for a motion.
Go ahead.
Nope, I was just pointing to him that you appointed.
You have to have a motion before I can ask a question.
I'm looking for a motion.
Okay, I'll give you a motion. I move that we approve the resolution authorizing that the energy savings performance contract between Amoresco and the Hillsboro School District move from the technical energy audit to the design and construction phase as detailed in the project development plan, and that contingent upon the procurement of low-interest financing. We further authorize Director of Business Services Michelle Morrison, Chief Financial Officer Adam Stewart, and Executive Director of Facility Safety and Operations Casey Walletich to sign documents related to the design and construction contract for the project development plan.
Second? Mine was a lot easier.
Okay, we have Motion made by Kim and seconded by Janine to approve the resolution. Any questions or comments?
Just one, you mentioned they guarantee it. Okay, so is that actually in writing that if we didn't get the savings that they pay us?
They would make up the difference between the savings that they've guaranteed and whatever our actual savings are.
Perfect, thank you.
That was my question, too.
Right, Jason?
We also guarantee the maximum cost of the project. And in lieu of paying out savings, we can also correct the problem and generate savings in an alternate way and make sure that we have on at a reasonable price. It will be solved.
So can you just comment on Amoresco's track record? So have they been, I assume, successful doing this in other school districts?
They have been. In fact, Amoresco, the district went out for RFQ, request for qualifications 3 or 4 years ago for an ESCO, which is what they are. And Amoresco was selected by the board at that time based on their record for having fulfilled all their promises.
Just as a person who is going through a company that I work for, the LEED Gold certification and recertification, it's really exciting to be able to look at the plan and look at the, that's laid out for energy conservation and waste reduction and everything else. So I just think it's a fantastic move and it's a win-win to be guaranteed.
Seeing no further questions, motion has been made and seconded, and those, losing my words today. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I do want to comment that Jason has gone above and beyond to be here this evening. He's got a 2-week-old.
Oh my gosh.
He snuck out to come be here with us tonight, or it might be a good excuse. I don't know.
We gave you an extra hour. Done early, so.
Well, with ice cream or something.
Okay, next up, we will go to 2 items on my plate. First is the nomination of the Oregon School Boards Association board members. And I assume we've all read through the packet. This is, they are looking for nominations from among us. So this would be a time when board members could express an interest in being nominated for the Oregon School Board Association. Okay, seeing none, and we will move on to the second item.
Can we ask a question first?
Sure.
Do we know if there are other board members in our region who are interested that we could nominate, or do they only need 1 nomination?
I think they only need 1 nomination from their board. I know Maureen Look, who serves on the Metropolitan, and she currently serves, I can't remember the position, 15 or 16, but she is planning on seeking it again.
Okay. 2 positions.
But there is 2 positions in Washington County, and I just don't, Leanne Larson for the Bearton School District currently holds the other seat, and I haven't heard if she's seeking.
We'll find out in October.
Okay. Right, the second is a nomination for OSBA Legislative Policy Committee members. Same question out to you, or any other questions about it? Janine?
I actually want to make a motion. I want to make a nomination, motion, all of the above. So I would like to nominate Kim Strelchin for the position of OSBA Legislative Policy Committee.
I will second that.
Woo, look at that.
Okay, hearing a motion from Janine and a second, I'll pick from Monty among a crowd of willing enthusiasts to nominate Kim Strelchin as OSBA Legislative Policy Committee member. Any comment or questions? Eric?
So can you actually ask Kim questions, I guess? Or, I guess one question I have is, what's your position on the OSBA's kicker elimination efforts, and are you going to go there and support them or oppose them? Or?
So I haven't read specifically about what their proposal is, but in general, I believe in kicker reforms and those dollars helping fund the whole K-12 education.
So you believe we should take away the kicker? Okay, so if you don't take it personally if I vote against your nomination, then. Lisa?
I was just going to note that it says we have to specify a position number, 15 or 16, for the LPC, and I wondered if you knew which one. I think that 15 is listed as vacant on the OSBA website, but I think that that's someone who was recently appointed, though both the people in 15 and 16 are from Forest Grove, so.
Yeah, and I think you're right, I think they're both open.
Pick a number.
Pick a number. I will pick number 15.
Okay.
Cool. And I know last time when they had multiples of one and none of the other, it sort of, they all shook out. Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion on the, Jenny.
My comment is I wanted to thank Kim for her enthusiasm to be involved in this. I appreciate your leadership as board chair. I think you've done a fantastic job. You're very level-headed and you're very knowledgeable, and I think that you'll bring good experience to this and to be a voice of many, and I appreciate that your willingness to put in that time.
Okay, so I am also going to vote for you, but I do have a reservation on the kicker piece as well, because I'm with Eric in that I believe that it should go back to people. I do think there's room for negotiating, but it would take a constitutional change in order to do that. So it's not quite so draconian the way it's done. So there's always room for changes. So I would hope that you would express that diversity of opinion when you represent us on the board.
Sure. Well, and I think that's important to note that it's not like, it's like a board. It's, you're one voice of many, and you're meant to serve the entire county. And so we're getting feedback from all the voices.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of nominating Kim to the OSBA Legislative Policy Committee, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Okay. Should we go to?
He's ready.
Already? Okay. We will invite back up Ted Gray.
I think in the spirit of time that they should all bring forth. In your board packet, you have the options that were presented for your approval for the year. I'm also going to run through some highlights. I'm not sure how this works. If Adam is my...
You're going to get a clicker right now.
Well, just highlight some points of interest from last year. This is a general overview of data. Now, I presented this to a group of counselors at Glencoe High School today, and one of the questions that came up was, how does this compare to years previous? And in my position, due to my position, I don't necessarily have historical data. And the one note I'll make is with the GED test specifically, it was revamped and aligned more to Common Core curriculum, so it was a little more rigorous. So it wouldn't be a good comparison anyway, comparing the GED data to previous years. But 2014-15, we had 31 students earn their GED in our East program. And then these are programs that are all located right on the Max line at our East building. We had Pearl students, those are students that have been placed there on expulsion. TOPS is a transitioning program, students that move from one program to another and need a place to work on some credit recovery. And then the diploma program are students that are working towards a diploma either in their 5th or 6th year of high school. And so all these students represent the credits earned. We had 10 students on expulsion last year during the time of their stay with us. Some as short as 2 weeks, some as long as a year, earned 35 credits. 46 students in the transition program earned 106 credits. We had 114 students referred to us on a 5th year, 6th year diploma. We served 87 students. Some of them have tremendous barriers, and even though they're referred, they sometimes have a difficult time showing up and committing to that program. But of the 87, we had 32 graduates. And then Miller West this past year served 70 students, and we had 28 graduates, which some of you attended those ceremonies twice this past year. Overall, we had 450 students referred into one of our option programs in the district, and we served 345 of those students. And the discrepancy comes again with some of our students that are very mobile. Some of them choose to then stay at their home school, even if they applied for an option program. So there's always a rationale to why there's a discrepancy in number. And sometimes of that 450, we're referring students in the West program to the East program. And we're keeping them within the house, but for data collection, they're part of that, even though they're being served in a different program. Any questions? Currently, we're running 2 teen parent programs, one at the Miller Education site, one at Century. We currently have 14 teen parents in our programs. That's an increase this past year of 9 from last year. And we're starting with 68 students currently at Miller West. And for the first time in Miller history, we're going to have a freshman cohort at the 9-week. Again, like I stated, I met with Glen co-counselors. I'm meeting with Century counselors tomorrow to talk about the process of transitioning freshmen that are struggling at the current high school, in hopes to keep them on track for graduation. So Miller has typically been a place that serves students that are credit deficient, and we look to graduate them within 5 years or so. And we're really trying to flip that story and have students graduate on time. So our option programs at Miller West, which is located on 4th Street, the old David Hill building, we have our option high school, which currently will be a 9 through 12 model. And we transitioned our GED program to the West building to open up some more facility space for independent transition services at the East building. So they're growing at a rapid rate. They needed to expand and have some space. And we felt we could accommodate them at the West building, so GED has moved over to the West side. And then we have our teen parent program housed at West also. At East, there's still quite a menu of options. We have transition options program, which is again that space where students can earn credit while they're in between programs. They may be in between their comprehensive high school and Miller West. They might be between their comprehensive high school and OYCP or Job Corps. But it's a place where they can continue their education and work towards graduation. We have our 5th year diploma program, which all the high schools did a great job this year referring back students with 8 credits or less that still would like the diploma. And we've contacted them and enrolled them into Miller East. We have our Pearl students. Those are students that are on expulsion. Currently, we have 2, which is a great number. 0 is better. And then we have a work systems program, which is grant funded. It serves all of Washington County, and that's HIP and Connect. HIP's for Hillsboro in-school program, and Connect is for dropout recovery. And they serve students from Forest Grove to Tiger Walton to Hillsboro and Beaverton. And here they are, the stars of the night. Then we have 3 programs that we contract with PCC for. Gateway to College is for students that are 16 years or older that would like to earn their high school diploma while working towards college credit. We have the YES program, which is a GED-based program. Hillsboro uses it specifically for our English language learners, and again, are in dual credit at college. And then for the first time this year, we partnered with Beaverton School District in an early college high school. And we currently have 15 students, 15 juniors that started this week at PCC Rock Creek. So I could do the right thing, I could pause, and I could invite Joel and Tyler Murtha, and I could share their story with you, if that's all right with you. Please.
Hello, this is Joel and I'm Tyler. All right, I'm going to jump into it. Miller West has been a great alternative to the massive Century High School. The teachers and staff at Miller devote so much time to their students, making us feel safe and hard. That constant devotion turned around my academic career. My grades went from D's and F's to A's and B's. That was only in one semester of attending Miller West. It's also incredibly hard to get discouraged at our school because our amazing teachers try their hardest to constantly keep their students involved in having fun. For me, that environment at Miller changed the way I look at school in many positive ways.
In my case, when I came to Miller, I was shy and not very outgoing. Little did I know, I had found the school I wanted to call home. As the first semester progressed, I started coming out of my shell. What I realized is Miller is a safe and welcoming place. I found myself not wanting to miss school like I did at Century. At Miller, I can walk up to any of the staff, look them in the eye, and have an intellectual conversation with them. If I were to try this at Century, they would tell me to go to the counselor's office.
The small number of students help classes stay focused and on task. It also helps our teachers create unique lesson plans that meet each student on their own level. While I walk through the halls, all I feel is welcome, with smiles saying good morning and the sounds of people having fun. What I'm trying to say is, at Miller, I feel like someone with a great deal of support from a great community. Thank you.
So Greg, before,
Yes.
can we ask him a few questions?
Absolutely.
I know
It was a great script.
Do you want to do pictures first? Go ahead here. Yeah. You know, you've got your fans to deal with now. So were you guys buying the credits when you went to Miller? Or were you on track, but it just wasn't the right fit at the high school you were at?
I was actually behind probably on quite a few credits when I first started going to Miller sophomore year because I switched second semester to HOA from Century, and it didn't really quite fit me. I didn't have the authority handing me papers and telling me to get it done, and I kind of just didn't do it. So then I kind of realized with the help of my parents that I needed a better alternative, and that's why I ended up at Miller.
And what year are you now?
I'm a junior now.
You're a junior. And your plan is to stay there? So.
Yeah, stay at Miller.
Okay. And what was your situation?
Mine, I actually went a semester later than he did because I didn't know if it was going to be the right fit for me, so I'm like, oh, I'll just let him test it out. But he was just giving me great feedback. I'm like, okay, that sounds like a great fit. I'll check it out too. It was great, and we pretty much failed a lot of classes as freshmen, and we lost a lot of credits that way. But we've made up some. I think I'm almost on track. I can't quite remember, but yeah, I think I'm getting there.
So without throwing your previous school under the bus, okay? So I'm not asking you to do that. What would you recommend? What could we do at our larger high schools to create an environment like your experience? And I know that's kind of a funny question because we won't have the same staff to student ratio that you had at Miller. I mean, we just can't afford to do that, to be honest. So what are some other things that we could do that would make it maybe a better fit for those people where it's not, the experience they were hoping for?
Tough one. I think the students, like a lot of the students feel disrespected by the teachers and staff. Like they don't feel like they're actually getting called. Like I feel like we just need more communication both ways, because like the students feel more like they're going to like a place where they get just dictated, just do this, do that, do this. It's like you don't get any rights. Where like at Miller, I feel like I have like people to support me and back me up when I have an idea and like actually listen to me. And I feel like the students feel disrespected. So, and like, I don't know, a lot of kids just disrespect.
I wonder, could some of it be just the amount of time and access that you have to teachers as opposed to, you know, a larger high school?
That a lot, yeah.
For me also, it helps that at Miller I have smaller class periods than a 4-day, like a 4-period like day.
Yeah.
You know, I can't really sit still for those long hours at Century, but at Miller I can actually focus mostly the whole hour of each class I go to.
So what is an average class period at Miller?
It's about an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice.
Okay. Other people have questions? Well, thank you. We appreciate you coming to tell us.
Thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
So we'd love to come back later on in the year with some other students from some of the other programs. I think they tell a great story. These two guys have been a great addition. And I think they really speak the truth when they talk about coming in and advocating for themselves. I think that's the one quality the successful student at Miller comes away with, is the ability to be self-advocates. We've had a few conversations this past year over some items. And I think they appreciated the honesty. It didn't always go their way, but they had the ability to voice their concerns.
Very good. Thanks, guys.
Let's see where we're at. And then Hillsboro Online Academy is another option our students have. What Linda Harrington wanted me to share was the increase in students accessing courses from the comprehensive high schools as opposed to completely withdrawing from their comprehensive and enrolling in HOA. So there's been a great expansion of this relationship between the comprehensive high schools and HOA. We also have home instruction in your packet for our students that may need home or hospital care, recovering from injury. And then other programs that aren't necessarily placement options, except for OYCP at the end. Harkins House, Washington County Jail, we have a half-time teacher in each of those facilities. And then OYCP is in the board packet. So any questions? Yes.
Comments, if I could. I guess some more questions. So you had mentioned that on the Miller, you talked about Miller West.
Yes.
And you mentioned Options High School.
Yes.
So you call that an Options High School. Now, true that Miller is not officially designated a high school, and I'm not sure, how is that accreditation process? How are we able to get that to be? Is it possible to make that an alternate high school? Because a lot of people's minds, it is the 5th high school in our district.
That is a possibility, and I think that Matt Smith and I had that conversation last year, and we started that conversation. It's probably one that we need to continue to have this year, as what that would look like on paper for Miller Education Center to be an accredited high school, and what steps would need to happen. We have everything really in place this coming year. We have lab sciences, which is going to be one of the requirements to be an accredited high school. We're also going to have to be able to serve the full menu of courses. Health and PE hasn't typically been offered in the past. We're going to be offering it in the future. So you have to make sure that we can accommodate the basic requirements for graduation at that high school before it becomes a high school in the eyes of the board.
And then with that, so that could be a combination of programs. You could offer an online course within you may not be able to offer a full PE course, say, just using this example, but there could be an online option for that portion?
And we did that last year. We did
Okay.
access HOA last year from time to time, and we'll continue to do that this year. It really becomes PE and health, like you said, and sometimes a higher level math course that we're not able to offer as a full class for 1 or 2 students.
Okay.
So Linda and I have partnered in the past.
And I think it's really important, especially when these gentlemen come and they speak in front. Sometimes people have this negative what's the word? Yeah, I have
Connotation.
Thank you. About Miller, and they look at it as, well, it's the problem kids and everything. And those board members and folks that have the ability to go through and tour and visit the classrooms and hear the stories and see the graduations, you know that it goes well beyond that. And sometimes I wonder, how much positive marketing we could do to really show the different stories about Miller. Sometimes I wonder, does the name hold you back? As part of, it's always been associated with Miller West, Miller East, and it's given that negative, a rebranding, so to speak. Because when you look at the different options that we have here, it's super impressive. And especially, I was recently on a trip where back in the Midwest, and so many options when they're not offered in a school program, it takes away from that student's ability to continue on school, and they drop out and they leave. And so the way that we can help our students in all these different ways to help them achieve that diploma is fantastic. And I think I encourage anybody who hasn't had the opportunity, you just be Lisa, I'm sorry, because you're new. If you haven't had the opportunity to go to Harkin's house and whatnot.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lisa and I spent about an hour together last year.
Yeah.
Touring.
And yeah, it's phenomenal. It's just amazing the different options that we can give students to achieve that diploma and give them that. Because we have the Future Connect program that we work with students to really help them on with college. And so I just, those are the things that I wanted to mention and just say, I think it's a kudos to the staff, especially when you go to the graduation and you talk about, and the students talked about that personal connection with you see it at graduation when they're able to tell personal stories and they're able to really know their students. It's fantastic. So, yeah. Thanks.
So I would talk less time, but I want to sort of piggyback on what Jean said. When I visited last year, it was the longest time I spent seeing any school, right? And also most varied. I tried to go to every school site, and we spent a couple of hours going between all 3 sites. We didn't go to jail though, maybe next time. And so much variety, like so many different, in this classroom, we're working with kids, towards the GED, and then in this class, these kids are just, here for, a few weeks, and then they're going to go back, or, trying to catch up on these credits, and just so much stuff to manage, and obviously make it really individualized so that kids can feel successful and be successful, and yeah, it's great. And then also, the teen parents, got to see the teen parents in the web, in the room. It's like a little, it was very interesting to meet the gals who have been working there for a long time. Yeah, it's just probably a lot to manage for you, I think, but it's excellent.
Any questions?
So are you expecting a motion?
Yes.
To approve?
So I'm asking for a motion.
Okay, so I move that we approve this list of alternative programs.
Second.
I motion to approve the 2015-16 alternative education programs made by Eric and seconded by Janine. Any further questions?
I have a question. And it's a loaded question, so thank you for your answer. What happens if we don't approve these programs? Yeah, I told you it was loaded. And I think this discussion should be taking place in our budget process. We should be approving these projects and programs and putting dollars to them with Greg, your input as to what he needs in the future, whether he needs additional funds. And I think it's kind of after the fact. We're approving these programs now. And so I think it should be at the front end of the budget so that these kind of programs get budget prioritized, get budget consideration.
Well, that would have been a great comment in the spring, Bonnie.
Well, I said it was loaded, and it's forward thinking.
So your recommendation is that we move this to the spring agenda for this coming?
No, I'd say we approve it now, but I think for next, we move it up 6 months for the next year.
Greg, any thoughts or comments on that?
I appreciate the comments. Monty and I were on the committee last year together for the LTED revisit. And I think one of the highlights that came out of that was the need for social emotional support for our students that are most at risk. And so we'd love to revisit that as a potential staffing item and see how they could serve numerous sites in our programs. And so really share the cost of that. It goes in line with some of your thoughts on resiliency and how do we help our students become resilient.
It was masterful how you turned this question into more funding for you. You're run for mayor too. Yeah, no, point taken.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. Ask now for a vote. All those who will approve the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then we got. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Now, reports from our partners. Northwest Regional, I don't see. So we'll invite HCHA.
Thank you for your time. ACU is going through a new phase, trying to work a little more together, with the school district. I'm speaking kind of on behalf of custodial crews and stuff. This summer was good. We got everything done, ready for the kids to start. There are places that could use improvement. We need a little help with subbing, qualified subs. I think it's a necessity to get a big pool of subs together or some other kind of subsystem. There's many times where positions go unfilled, and it's we don't feel bad picking up the slack, but you know, we have families too. Overtime is a little less efficient than straight time. That's basically all I have to say about this. Everything was so happy and wonderful earlier. I hate to go. I was brought up, you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing. But sometimes you have to say things so that we can fix it. I'm all about working together and trying to see if we can fix this subsystem problem. Because if you ever heard of a trash and dash, you don't have enough people, you go in, grab the trash, go and try and get as much as you can. I just think the kids deserve a little more, that's all. There's a lot that still needs to be done and could be done better. But if we get a little help, it'll go a long way. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I do want to start off by commenting on the substitute issue and just say Hillsboro Education Association doesn't represent subs. And I would point out that I'm not sure if the subs know what's coming. So to the question, are the subs okay with that? I don't know if they know, so you might want to look into that. But I wanted to talk about assessment. 2 weeks ago during the work session, there were questions about the Common Core standards and SBAC. And I can give you a written report about what some of the things are that we're hearing statewide and in the district, and I will do that in the interest of keeping our time commitment to being out by 9. I do want to say that in Oregon, assessment guides educators regarding what our students have learned. That's the main reason for it. Where they still have gaps. In Oregon, we started to use assessments to guide our practice by studying the data and focusing on a content area, determining a practice so that we can elevate our practice and ensure that what we do really makes a difference in how kids learn. We include 100% of the students in an elementary classroom or in a subject area in secondary. We use tools that have been agreed are appropriate and rigorous. And by measuring growth, we can set expectations for all students. An achievement grade is easy for a tag student, but we're trying to ensure that all kids are able to show some growth with our new practice and student learning growth goals. And that was probably too skimpy an explanation, but I think that Con and I are scheduled to talk to you more about that in January, so thanks.
Okay, Mike, Superintendent.
All right, I was just going to give a quick report on the Board Superintendent Advisory Team, and we did have our first meeting, and I will make sure that I get those dates to Lisa and Janine, who are going to be representing the board on that committee. In general, we talked about opportunities for the students to have a greater voice in the district, and I posed the question to them, give me examples of things that you wish you had voice into, and they were not at a shortage of examples there. So everything from specific programs that are implemented to curriculum to how to advocate for themselves or for a position to staffing allocations. So quite a variety of opportunities for them to have voice that they would like to see. We talked about areas that they could also represent the district. So as we get together next month, we'll be talking more about that and getting more specific and some of the roles that they could play. So very energetic group. We do have representation from all 4 high schools, and looking forward to working with them and getting them in front of the board to share some of their thoughts as well. So, just had 1 meeting so far with those folks. Go ahead. Yep.
All right, why don't we start with Buzz?
Just thrilled. It's great to see kids back in school. It's great to see the excitement they generate, the enthusiasm they have. It's great to see the teachers enthusiastic. And I'll be passing the hat to get more microphones for our staff so they can, they've got 1 over there to share between 5 of them. So I'll be passing the hat. And that's all I have.
I shared in one session. I don't have anything else to say.
The only thing is that I have is, I've been appointed to the city, the advisory committee for their long-term plan that they have. And so I've just been doing a lot of detailed reading about the city lately and preparing for our first meeting in a couple of days on that. And look forward to, sharing the results with you guys as this 2-year process unfolds.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about career and college readiness and how excited I am to be more involved and kick up and get involved with that committee, because I think that the more opportunities that we can provide for our students and the better education opportunities, and the more excited they are about whether their path takes them to a career or whether their path takes them to college. And having the school to career program has just been an incredible partner. The Hillsboro Chamber, the HSF, and just all those folks around the table that are there and giving their time and their energy to help our students is incredible. So I look forward to hearing more about how the moving in the direction of free community college for 2 years, how that works within our district, and how we can, look to how does that fit in with our district and opportunities that we can provide them while they're in school, so that when they leave, they have a foundation already. So I just wanted to say.
I just wanted to add, I appreciate the students who spoke this evening from Miller Ed, but I didn't want people to leave with the feeling that you couldn't have a meaningful experience and build strong relationships with teachers in your comprehensive high school. Having high school students and spending a lot of time in there are a lot of meaningful, deep relationships where you look into a teacher's eye and they are the mentor and the guide that you need. And I know that mine too are completely experienced that in comprehensive high school. So just different perspectives.
I want to congratulate our recently elected board chair for running another very efficient meeting. It's a trend that continues for the whole year.
And with that, I also echo many of the feelings expressed here. It's so exciting to see the start of a new school year. I've had a chance to meet with parents, with teachers, with students in a variety of forms, and it's just always wonderful to see the excitement in the eyes and in the energy behind the new year of learning. It's wonderful. It's kind of what drives the whole spirit here. So with that, I look forward to a great year. Continuing the trend, an extra hour for everyone. Thank you very much and good night, and you're adjourned.